Welcome to Guide Mia. Today we're going to talk about how an AlignerBot case travels from phase 1 planning to phase 2 appliance design, across Cympha, OrthoPlus, and the agent that connects them. This lecture is for all three people in the loop: the clinician who submits the case, the lab manager who routes it, and the AlignerBot operator at the lab whose workstation does the designing. Watch it end to end, so each role knows what the other two are doing. By the time we're done, you'll know where every dispatch handoff happens, what fires automatically and what needs a human, and exactly what's required when the clinician asks for changes mid-loop, including the one rule that catches almost everyone the first time. A real case typically clears phase 1 in under an hour of agent and engine time. Follow along on screen, or listen now and read later. Let's trace it. First, the cast, because an AlignerBot case is a 3-role relay, plus one non-human runner. The clinician submits the case and, later, approves or rejects what comes back. The lab manager routes the case to the right place, one decisive click, as you'll see. The AlignerBot operator is the person at the lab whose workstation hosts the design engine. Interestingly, their main job during a healthy case is to do nothing at all. And threaded between them is the Cympha agent manager, the software agent that watches for dispatched cases, runs the engine, and uploads the results. Most confusion with AlignerBot comes from one role not knowing what another role's step looks like. The clinician wonders why nothing came back, the manager wonders why nothing dispatched. So today we walk the whole pipeline in order, and at each handoff I'll tell you whose move it is. 4 prerequisites, and the second one is the one people miss. First, a clinician with a Cympha account who can reach the new case page. Second, and this is critical, a lab with at least one user holding the AlignerBot role on its team. Without an AlignerBot role user, the case can still be assigned to a regular designer, but the agent won't auto-dispatch anything. It just sits there as a normal manual assignment. Third, a Windows workstation with Guide Mia OrthoPlus installed and activated, and the Cympha agent manager installed and paired to that AlignerBot role user's Cympha email. Fourth, a confirmed scan set, upper and lower arch scans, STL or PLY, at minimum. The agent cannot dispatch the engine without scans. If any of this is unfamiliar, there are dedicated guides for the lab side setup and for installing and pairing the agent. Do those first, then come back. Step 1, the clinician's move. They open the new case page on app.cympha.com, search for a lab offering AlignerBot, and pick the AlignerBot category. Picking it reveals the parameters section. This is where the clinician describes the treatment they want in machine-readable terms, the per-jaw plan range, an automatic extraction toggle and specific extraction tooth numbers, missing teeth, allowed IPR, protraction and retraction, expansion, extrusion and intrusion, middle line alignment, the spay curve, and sagittal and coronal inclinations. Every one of these flows straight into the planning engine later, which is why the form is this specific. They upload at least the upper and lower scans, bite, photos, and CBCT are optional extras, and submit. The case is promoted from a draft to submitted, held by the lab manager, who gets an email from Cympha. There's a focused intake guide if the clinician side is your whole interest. Step 2, the lab manager's move, and it's short but decisive. They open the new case, sitting at submitted with the AlignerBot category, confirm the scans and parameters look same, and move the case to designing. Helpfully, the status control previews who will receive the case before they commit, and with an AlignerBot seat user on the team, it routes to that user. Now, why the seat matters so much: the agent manager on the workstation paired to that user has an AlignerBot agent inside it, and it activates only when the case's holder is an AlignerBot seat user. If the case ends up held by a plain designer instead, it stays in designing and nothing automatic ever happens. That designer would have to drive OrthoPlus entirely by hand. So this one routing click is the difference between an automated pipeline and a manual job. Watch the preview, make sure it names the seat, commit. If you want the assignment step in its own right, the dialog, the options, the edge cases, that's covered in assign a case to a designer. Step 3, and from here the humans step back. On its next poll, the agent checks for new cases every 20 seconds. The agent manager on the operator's workstation sees a freshly dispatched case held by its paired user, and the first thing it does is claim a dispatch lock. That lock matters if the lab runs more than one machine. It keeps a second workstation paired to the same user from racing the first. Only one agent can pick up any given design pass. Lock in hand, the agent downloads the case's files, the scans and any other inputs, into the workspace folder, under the case's own folder, and launches OrthoPlus on the case in planning mode. That's phase 1 beginning. One capacity note for busy labs: dispatch is parallel capable. The agent can run several OrthoPlus workers at once, configured in its Configure AlignerBot dialog, so a queue of cases doesn't have to run strictly one at a time. Step 4 is the engine's work. OrthoPlus loads the scans, applies the parameters the clinician set at intake, and runs the planning cascade. Out comes a treatment plan, stage tooth positions across the full sequence of steps, an IPR map, attachment placements, and the middle line alignment. OrthoPlus saves all of it into the case folder, including the review file, the version of the plan that opens in Cympha Studio. And now the elegant part of the pipeline, the agent uploads that review file automatically, and a review file arriving via the agent requests approval by itself. The case flips to awaiting approval with the plan approval pending label, and no one at the lab clicked anything. The engine's working project file, by the way, stays local on the workstation, it's never uploaded. The clinician gets an email from Cympha, your plan is ready. Pause and appreciate the distance the case just covered. The last human action was the lab manager committing the case to designing. Since then, the agent claimed it, downloaded it, launched the engine planned the full staging, the plan uploaded itself, and the approval request fired on its own. From routing click to plan ready for review, 0 file handling, 0 uploads, 0 status clicks at the lab. That's the promise of the Seat plus Agent plus Engine chain, and it's why the setup steps in the earlier lectures are worth doing precisely. The case is now in the clinician's hands, which is where the story gets interactive, because the clinician has 3 very different doors to choose from. Step 5. Back to the clinician. They tap the email link and land on the approval page, the patient's name in the header, the awaiting approval badge, and the step label, approval needed, treatment plan. The files panel lists the review file alongside the original scans. Clicking the review file opens Cympha Studio in a new tab, and this is where the clinician actually evaluates the plan, orbiting the model, stepping through the stage tooth positions, checking where attachments were placed, and looking at the simulated bite at the end of treatment. Take the time here, this review is the whole point of the phase 1 gate, and it's far cheaper to fix a plan than to fix appliances. At the bottom of the page, 3 actions: wait, approve design, request changes, and escalate to lab manager. 3 doors. Let's walk through each one. Door 1, the clinician approves the plan. The status pivots through approved and, because an approval cycle still remains, drops straight back to designing, with the same AlignerBot seat holding the case. On the agent's next poll it claims a fresh dispatch log, and this time it launches OrthoPlus in appliance mode. Phase 2 runs the appliance design cascade, generating whatever the case's design kind calls for, aligner models, an arch model, a bracket bonding guide, or treatment plan only. OrthoPlus finishes with a zip of design results in a transfer pack. The agent uploads both automatically, and just like phase 1, the transfer pack arriving via the agent fires the second approval by itself. The case flips to awaiting approval again, now labeled appliance approval pending. The clinician gets another email, returns to the approval page, reviews the appliance files, and approves. The status pivots through approved and, this being the final cycle of a digital category, advances to delivered, with no manufacturing step. That's the clean round trip, end to end. Door 2, the clinician wants changes, the rule that catches everyone once. For AlignerBot, the dialog enforces a structured revision artifact. The confirm button stays disabled until a file with the right extension is already on the case. An amber banner reads upload one of the following first and names 2 paths. Path 1, an XML tooth position file exported from Cympha Studio's 3D review, open the review file in Studio, edit the tooth positions in the browser, export, upload. Path 2, a transfer pack saved from Guide Mia OrthoPlus Planner, a get the planner link points at the downloads page if needed. Once one is uploaded, confirm enables. Confirming flips the case to changes requested, back to the AlignerBot seat, the agent claims a fresh lock and redispatches planning mode. Phase 1 runs again with the clinician's edits baked in. Why no free text? The planning cascade has no English parser. A type move to 16 Buckley has nowhere to land, the XML and the transfer pack are the inputs the engine actually consumes. Door 3 is the human exit. If the clinician clicks Escalate to Lab Manager, the status flips to Escalated and the holder transfers to the Lab Manager, and note carefully, the bot does not redispatch on escalated cases. The pipeline deliberately stands down, because escalation means a person needs to look at this. The Lab Manager triages, usually they review the situation with the clinician in the case chat, and then choose one of 2 exits. Either they send the case back through the bot, by moving it back to designing so it routes to the AlignerBot seat again, or they take the case manual, handling it like a conventional designer job. Escalation isn't failure, it's the safety valve that keeps the automated loop from arguing with a human who has concerns. Here's the audit of a clean round trip. The case's activity log shows exactly 2 approvals, one for the treatment plan step, one for the appliance design step. The status on the case page reads delivered. AlignerBot cases are digital deliverables, so there's no manufacturing step between final approval and delivery. The Files panel tells the whole story in one list: the original scans, the Phase 1 review file, the Phase 2 appliance output, the design results zip and the transfer pack, plus any revision artifacts that were uploaded mid-loop if the case took the changes door. And on the clinician's side, the case sits under delivered, ready for the natural next step, sharing the plan with the patient, which has its own guide in its own lecture. 6 things go wrong more than anything else, and they fall into 2 groups. This first group is about dispatch, the case not reaching the engine. Number 1, the case sits in designing after assignment, but Ortho Plus never opens. The cause is almost always that the case is held by a designer who doesn't hold the AlignerBot seat. Remember, the bot only activates for AlignerBot seat holders. The fix is to move the case back through designing so that it routes to the AlignerBot seat user and use the preview on the status control, which tells you who will receive it before you commit. Number 2, Ortho Plus opens, but immediately errors out while loading the case. That points at the scans, they're malformed, or one jaw is missing altogether. Open the case page and confirm both the upper and the lower scans are present and confirmed, not stuck mid-upload, which looks deceptively similar. Re-upload whatever is missing, and then click Rerun Design on the case page to trigger a fresh dispatch. Number 3, Phase 1 finished, the clinician approved, but Phase 2 never dispatched. So the clinician did their part and the agent didn't pick the case up. Start by checking that the agent on the operator's workstation is still paired. If it is paired and still nothing dispatches, then the case may have moved off the AlignerBot user. Go to the case page, check who currently holds it, get it back to the right holder, and then use Rerun Design. And the second group, which is about the revision loop. Number 4, the clinician's request changes confirm button stays grayed out. They haven't uploaded an XML or a transfer pack yet, that's the whole story. The amber banner inside the dialog explains the 2 valid paths: either go to Cympha Studio's 3D review and export the XML, or use Ortho Plus Planner and save the transfer pack. And to say it plainly one more time, because people keep trying it, free text instructions typed into the case chat do not count. The confirm button will not enable for them. Number 5, and this one is less an error than a thing nobody discovers on their own: the clinician wants a different design kind after they've already approved Phase 1. Maybe they approved the plan expecting aligner models and actually want a bracket bonding guide. On the case page there's a design options card, and it carries a design kind selector with 4 values: aligner models, arch model, bracket bonding guide, and treatment plan only, plus step range and attachment options alongside it. Here's the crucial part: saving those options does not dispatch anything by itself. Nothing will happen. You change the kind, you save, and then you click Rerun Design to dispatch with the new values. 2 actions, not 1. Number 6, the case keeps redispatching Phase 1 in a loop. Go to the activity log first and read what's actually driving each pass. The log will show you what triggered every dispatch, and usually that explains it. If the case is genuinely stuck, the lab manager can override its status from the case page, and once it's in a sane state, use Rerun Design. Failing that, cancel the case and resubmit it fresh. That's the AlignerBot pipeline: submit, route, dispatch, plan, review, then either the automatic glide through Phase 2 to deliver, or a structured revision loop, or a human escalation. If you remember only 2 things from today, make them these: the AlignerBot seat is what wakes the bot, and change requests travel as XML files or transfer packs, never as prose. The written guide walks the same pipeline with every page name and every failure mode, and it links out to a focus guide for each role along the way. Submit an AlignerBot case for the clinician, set up AlignerBot for your lab and install and pair Cympha Agent Manager for the lab side, assign a case to a designer for the routing step, and approve or reject a design for the review gates. There's also a case status glossary if you want the full life cycle laid out, a file formats reference for what each artifact actually is, and a role matrix for who can do what. And if you'd rather run this same engine without a lab in the middle, look at Use Clear Aligner AI Direct to Clinic. The written walkthrough lives at cympha.com, open docs and find AlignerBot, Phase 1 to Phase 2. If your role is clinician, lab manager, or operator, there's a focus guide for each link from that page. And if these lectures help, subscribe. We're covering every Cympha workflow, one lecture at a time. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.